It was a humid August morning in Lagos when Adi stepped off the bus at Ojota Terminal. Her once glowing skin was now dull, hair hidden under a faded hoodie, her eyes concealed behind oversized sunglasses. Nobody would have guessed that just days ago, she had been living in a modern condo in Atlanta, Georgia. To the world, she looked like a deportee, one of the many who'd been thrown out of the US with nothing but a plastic bag and a crushed spirit. She chose it that way. 10 years. 10 long, aching years of working 3 jobs, cleaning houses during the day, working at a nursing home at night, and doing deliveries on weekends. She had missed birthdays, weddings, funerals, all for her family. Every month, without fail, she sent money back home to her mother and younger brother in Enugu. She paid for her brother, Obinna, to attend university. She built them a house from the ground up. She even skipped renewing her own papers to send more money when Mama fell ill. But when she called last year to say she was planning to return home, the line had gone silent. Not a squeal of joy. Not a tear. Just an awkward cough from Mama, then a rehearsed, "Don't worry, my daughter. We are doing well here. Take your time." That was when suspicion was born in her heart. So Adiz made a decision. She wouldn't announce her return. No flashy homecoming. No airport greetings. She would come back dirty, disguised, and unnoticed. She wanted to see how much her sacrifices truly meant. With the help of a friend who worked at a non-profit, she joined a deportation flight as a volunteer observer. She borrowed the tattered clothes of one of the real deportees. And now, here she was, walking through Lagos, her suitcase missing, carrying nothing but a fake deportation document and the sting of betrayal whispering in her ear. She took a rundown bus from Lagos to Enugu. The heat was unbearable, the roads broken, and her thoughts darker than the night. All along the road, memories assaulted her: the first dollar she earned as a cleaner, the winter she slept in her car to save money, the day she sent Obinna his first laptop. When she reached her family house in Nsaka, it stood tall and modern, exactly as she had paid for. But something was wrong. The gate was freshly painted in gold. The front yard had a new SUV parked beneath a gazebo. Laughter spilled from inside the house, celebratory, vibrant. She knocked softly. Mama answered, wearing a bright wrapper, gold bangles jangling on her wrist. Her face froze. Then her smile returned, forced and shallow. "Adiz," she said, voice barely audible. You came back." "I was deported," Adiz lied, eyes steady on her mother's face. And in that moment, just a flicker, she saw it. Not sadness. Not worry. Fear. Adiz stepped into the house, her eyes slowly adjusting to the lavish interior. The floors were tiled in marble, the curtains imported, and a large flat-screen TV blared Afrobeats into the sitting room. Her footsteps echoed like a ghost returning to a place she had only known through photos. Her mother trailed behind her, clutching the edge of her wrapper, hesitant and watchful. "Sit down, my daughter," Mama said, her voice trembling slightly. "You must be tired. Let me bring you water." Adiz sat down silently. Her eyes darted around the house, family portraits on the walls, but none included her. She noticed new faces in frames. A younger woman, stylish and beaming, standing beside her brother, Obinna, who now wore an agbada and sunglasses even in indoor pictures. Her heart clenched. When Mama returned with a glass of water, she placed it down carefully, watching Adiz as if she were a fragile vase. "You should have called us," she whispered. "We would have prepared something." "I wanted to surprise you," Adiz said coldly. "I had nowhere else to go. Immigration took everything. My bags. My phone." Mama nodded quickly, too quickly. "You're safe now. You're home." But that didn't feel true. There was something haunting about the way her mother avoided her eyes, like a child caught in a lie. Later that evening, Obinna came back home. Addis heard the rev of the SUV engine before she saw him. He walked in, smelling of cologne and power, with a crisp white shirt stretched across his now broad chest. He paused when he saw her. "Sis," he said, more surprised than happy. "You look well fed," Addis said, standing. "You too," he lied. They hugged stiffly. No warmth. No tears. Just obligation. Something was wrong, deeply, terrifyingly wrong. He didn't ask how she had survived. He didn't ask about America. He didn't even ask why she came back. During dinner, the table was filled with grilled chicken, jollof rice, and fried plantains, yet no one talked. Obinna picked at his food. Mama chewed in silence. Addis finally broke it. "So, how have you been living? The house, the car?" Obinna wiped his mouth. "God has been good. I started a business. Real estate." "With what money?" she asked, her voice now sharp. Silence. Obinna's jaw tightened. "Does it matter?" Addis rose from the table. "It does. Because I've been sending money every month for 10 years. For you. For Mama. And when I called about coming home, no one wanted me to come." "Why?" Mama stood. "Addis, stop this. We've all suffered. We didn't want to burden you." Addis' voice broke. "Burden me? I slept in the cold. I ate from vending machines. I missed life for this family." Then, suddenly, Obinna's eyes darkened. "You think you're the only one who made sacrifices? Maybe if you knew what we've done, you wouldn't have come back." The room fell quiet. A sharp chill crept up Addis' spine. "What did you do?" Obinna stood up and walked away. And Addis knew, with a bone-deep certainty, that she had returned to strangers. That night, Addis couldn't sleep. The air felt thick, almost hostile, as if the house itself knew she didn't belong anymore. She lay on the guest room mattress, surrounded by furniture she had paid for but never touched. Her mind replayed Obinna's words over and over. "Maybe if you knew what we've done, you wouldn't have come back." She rose before dawn, quiet as a shadow, and slipped out of the room. The house was silent, save for the ticking of the grandfather clock she'd shipped from the US 2 years ago. She moved toward the small home office, Obinna's supposed business room. The door was locked. But Addis remembered her old habits, how as a child, she would hide sweets and spare change in this same room. She knelt, fished behind the bookshelf, and found the latch. Still there. Some things, it seemed, never changed. Inside, the room was clean but cluttered with files and drawers. She opened one, then another, until she found a folder labeled US Transfers. Her heart raced. She opened it, hands trembling. Spreadsheets. Names. Amounts. Her own name was there, Addis Ozoemena, line after line of dollar transfers over a decade. But what struck her was the signature at the bottom of every withdrawal slip. Not Mama's. Not even Obinna's. It was Ngozi. The woman from the pictures. She flipped through another folder, property titles. Her eyes widened. Her name had been erased from the deeds of the house she built. Replaced by Ngozi's. Addis' money had bought this life. But she had been scrubbed from it completely. There was more. One file, marked Immigration Correspondence, contained something she hadn't expected, an email thread between Obinna and someone named Officer T. It was a bribe. Obinna had paid to be notified if Addis was ever flagged by immigration in the US. He wanted to be warned if she was deported. Why? Before she could process it all, she heard footsteps. Quickly, she gathered the files, snapped pictures with her hidden phone, and returned everything. She slipped back into her room just in time. A knock. Addis. Mama's voice, soft but sharp. Are you awake? She stayed silent. Then she heard it. A whisper, murmured to someone outside the door. She's digging. We need to talk to the priest. Priest. Her blood went cold. Addis realized it wasn't just greed or betrayal. It was something deeper. Something darker. She hadn't just come home to a family that forgot her. She had come home to a conspiracy. The next morning, Addis pretended nothing had happened. She greeted Mama warmly, smiled at Obinna, and even offered to help in the kitchen. But inside, she was spiraling. The files she found weren't just evidence of betrayal, they hinted at something more sinister. What did the priest have to do with her money? Why had Obinna been tracking her immigration status like a hawk? Later that day, Mama announced, "We are going to the church this evening. The priest wants to bless your return." Addis' stomach twisted. "Of course," she said, hiding her dread behind a smile. At sunset, they drove down a narrow red dirt path to a small church surrounded by thick bush. It wasn't their old family parish. This one was quiet, eerie, even for a church. Inside, a lone man stood near the altar. He wore a cassock, but his presence felt wrong. "Welcome, Addis," the man said. His accent was clipped, his smile more of a sneer. "We've heard so much about you." She blinked. "You're not Father Nadezi." "No," the man replied. "I'm Father Titus. I assist families with spiritual maintenance." Obinna appeared behind her. "He helped us during hard times." "Hard times?" Father Titus gestured for them to sit. "I believe you are struggling to understand what has happened. Why your family has changed." Addis remained standing. "I understand perfectly. They stole from me. Lied to me. You, whoever you are, you're just here to put holy oil on their guilt." Father Titus chuckled. "No, my child. They didn't lie to you for greed. They did it for survival. When your mother fell years ago, the sickness was beyond medicine. Traditional healers failed. So they came to me." He stepped closer. "The sacrifice of one can bless the lives of many. Your family made a pact. For you to succeed abroad, to survive and send money, a part of you needed to be spiritually pledged." Addis' breath caught. "What do you mean, pledged?" "They offered your destiny. Your prosperity was never really yours. It was borrowed. Your name, your strength, it all belonged to the altar they fed." Tears welled in her eyes. "So they used me. Like a sacrificial lamb. They believed you would never return," he said. "They thought distance would keep the balance. But now, you're home. The energy is disrupted. You were not meant to step foot on Nigerian soil again." Obinna stepped forward, his voice low. "That's why I paid the immigration officer. To keep you safe, by keeping you away." Addis backed away slowly, horror dawning. "So everything I suffered, everything I gave up, was planned." Mama wept silently. "We didn't know it would come to this." Father Titus's voice was cold. "There's only one solution now. We must renew the covenant, or the consequences will be irreversible." Addis stared at the priest, her heart pounding in her ears. "Or," he added, "you can live. Forever." And suddenly, the truth was clear. Returning home had put her life, and theirs, on a countdown. Addis stood frozen in the dimly lit church, the heavy silence pressing down like a curse. Father Titus's words echoed in her ears, "Renew the covenant, or live forever." She looked at her mother, who sat with her face buried in her hands, weeping like a child. Obinna stood by the altar, ashamed but silent, his face pale in the flickering candlelight. These were the people she had loved, trusted, fought for. And they had sold her soul in exchange for survival. "So that's it," Addis said, her voice shaking. You pledged my life for comfort. For cars and land and medical bills. Mama looked up. We were desperate. The doctor said I had only months. And the priest promised your success abroad. That you'd survive. That you'd thrive. But you were never supposed to come back. Adi stepped backward toward the door. And now? What's the plan? Kill me. Sacrifice me again. No. Mama cried. We only need to restore the balance. Just one small ritual. Then you can go. Go where? Adi spat. Back to America. I'm blacklisted. I'm a ghost there. And now I'm a ghost here too. Father Titus raised a small gourd filled with dark red liquid. You still have a choice. Spill a little of your blood. Give back a fraction of the gift. And all will return to peace. She stared at the god. That's when she knew, this wasn't just betrayal. This was spiritual theft. Her entire life had been manipulated, her suffering, her success, her pain engineered for a deal she never agreed to. If she gave in now, she would be sealing her fate in silence, just like so many before her. No, Adi said slowly. I won't be a sacrifice. Not again. She turned and bolted out of the church into the night. Behind her, Mama screamed. Obinna shouted her name. But she kept running, her feet pounding the red earth, her lungs burning with rage and betrayal. Back in town, she went straight to the local magistrate's office and turned over the picture she had taken, the files, the property fraud, the bank theft. She exposed Obinna and Ngozi's illegal assets. She filed a petition for property reclamation. She submitted everything. It was a war. Obinna tried to fight back. Mama refused to speak to her. The community whispered about her, some calling her cursed, others calling her brave. But Adi stood her ground. She refused the role of the obedient daughter any longer. Months passed. She started a foundation for women who were exploited by their families under the guise of love and sacrifice. She told her story at conferences, schools, churches, never naming names, but always opening eyes. Her final words were always the same. Sometimes, the greatest danger isn't what we face abroad, but what waits for us at home. She lost her family. But she reclaimed her name. And in a quiet flat in Abuja, far from the ghost of her past, Adis finally slept, free, unowned, and unafraid.